Hello and welcome to Riches and the Soul Summit. And today we're doing a special webinar bonus to our audience. So Riches and the Soul Summit is designed to teach you how to build your empire rich in soul, love, and freedom. So basically it's not just about the money and the wealth. It's also, making sure that when you're building your empire, your business, that it's true to your soul and love, and could be relating to your family, but also to freedom. So today my special guest is Kara Melendy, and Kara and I have known each other since my last summit, the Balanced Entrepreneur Summit, for any of you that have followed us through our two summits. And so today Kara is going to be talking about daily rituals that will help to set you up for success. So welcome, Kara.
Thank you, Christine. Happy to be here again and to share this information. I think especially coming up on the new year, we're thinking of New Year's resolutions and goals, and I really feel it's those day-to-day actions that we take that lead to the results that we get. And I think so often we get frustrated with New Year's resolutions, or we say we're not going to set them anymore, or I've seen this happen, and I know this happened in my own life, where we get so excited in January, and then already by February we're back into our old patterns and our old routines. And I think that happens because we have this excitement and the momentum and the energy of the new year, and we have the willpower at first, but eventually that fades away. And then if we don't have the habits in place, we don't have an action plan or a mindset that supports us, then it's not going to continue. So I really want to help people get those habits in place so they can follow through with their goals.
That's awesome. Well, before we get started, for those in our audience, and I'm putting this on YouTube, so for anybody who is listening to our video that may not know you, if you just want to briefly introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so I work as a success coach for female entrepreneurs. So I work with a lot of healers, people in network marketing companies, other coaches, and I help them grow a thriving online business. And the two things that I really focus in on are attraction marketing and mindset, because those were the two things that I find really held me back the most. And when we have those in place, we can really get a lot of growth and momentum quickly going within our business. So with the attraction marketing, it's all about developing your brand, setting yourself up as an expert in your field, and putting a lot of valuable content out there in front of your target market, so you can really position yourself as that expert and serve in a big way. And then with the mindset portion, it's really about having those beliefs that are in alignment with what you want to create in your life. So that's where I can bring in a lot of my energy work as well, and help you create that vibration that is in alignment with what you want to achieve. And just really looking through, I don't even like to say negative beliefs. Sometimes I say limiting, but even that I think can be triggering for people. So it's simply just about saying, is this belief in alignment with what I want to create? And if not, helping women shift that belief so it is. So that's just a little bit about me and some of the work that I do.
And I know I'm connected with you on social media, and I definitely know that you have an awesome following, and you get yourself out there. So Kara is definitely a great go-to person, for, like you said, coaches and healers in network marketing. So thank you for showing up today with me. I really appreciate it, and delivering such value to put on this webinar for our audience. So it's your floor, Kara, and go to it.
Awesome. So daily rituals to support your success. So for anyone listening, I would definitely say, grab your pen and paper and take notes on this stuff, because it's stuff you can easily implement as well. So if there's people listening in that are working like a 9-to-5, or they're working part-time while getting their business going, these are still actions you can take that are very doable and that can fit into your routine and your schedule. So, and they're also ones that I do day to day. So the first one, not just talking about them and don't do them. I've seen the effects. I've seen them in my clients and in my colleagues. So they certainly can help move you forward in achieving your goals and success, however you define that for you. So the first one is visualization. Taking time to visualize what you want to create in your business and life, and doing that each day. Because when we visualize, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between if it's actually happening in our life or not. So we can really access that vibration of what we want to achieve. And again, even doing that, like if you can do it in the morning for 10 minutes, I think that works really well. It can be longer, but if you feel like, where do I get the time in the morning? As little as 10 minutes, really practicing and setting the tone for the day. How do I want to show up today? What do I want to create? Because I love helping women create a business that is in alignment with their lifestyle, that really just supports their lifestyle. Because I think really that's what it's all about. And that's more what we're wanting, is a business that allows us that freedom to either be with our family or travel. So visualization can really help you set yourself up for success, and really just, again, imagine what you want to create, get into that vibration of what you want to create, and set the tone for the day instead of being in that default mode where you're kind of, which we can all relate to. And that's where we kind of get into our old patterns. So if we consciously show up and really set that intention, visualization is really powerful. I know with some of the clients that I'm working with, at first it can feel a little bit awkward too. And I know I had that experience as well. And I think it's similar with meditation, where those beliefs or that inner critic can set in and question whether we're doing it right or whether it's working. So it's really just, it's trusting that process, and that it gets easier with time, and not worrying so much about it being right or wrong. Simply showing up and doing the practice and finding a way where it works for us. So that's the first one, visualization.
That's awesome. And I totally agree with you on the visual. And I'll agree with you on all this, I know, because like you said, it's definitely key things, but I definitely agree with you on visualization. So next one.
Yeah. So the next one is to take time for personal growth each day. Mm-hmm. And I think approaching this in a way, not where we're flawed or there's something wrong with us, because I know that's come up as kind of an objection for a lot of people, saying, is it this endless chase of trying to fix myself? And I don't think it's a healthy way to approach it. It's simply about saying, is there certain areas that I want to work on, that I want to strengthen, and just being the best person I can be in a way where we're still completely honoring where we are, but just committed to growing and learning and changing. So each day taking that time to engage in personal growth, whether that's working on the mindset, whatever area in our life where we feel we want to give extra attention to, and devoting time to that, again, on a daily basis is really important. And that kind of just fits right into the next one, which is learning something new each day. And I think that's really important. Yeah, right? Learning something new. And specifically, when we're talking about our business, learning something new that is going to help position you as that expert, and then help the people that you're serving. So really that's going to benefit your target market. So if you're in health and fitness coaching, is there new recipes that you can now share with people? Or a way that people can fit in, exercise into their daily routine that's going to benefit people. So, whatever your area of expertise is, for me, it would be constantly learning new ways to market online and practice attraction marketing and show up on social media. Or, any time that I learn new techniques to help shift your beliefs or your energy, that's going to benefit me and benefit the women that I'm working with. So committing to learning something new each day.
Oh, I love that. And it's funny you bring that up, because it came to my head. My grandmother used to always tell me that. She was 95 years old when she passed away, and it's she always said, it's not a good day unless I've learned something new every day. So I love that you bring that up.
That's awesome. It's true. And there's always endless learning. And I think it's simply, if we just open ourselves up to that, there's always going to be something new that we can learn. And it's even more powerful if we set that intention of, I want to learn something new that's going to serve me and my business and therefore the people that I work with. So really powerful. And the next step after that is to share what you've learned. So once you learn it, to then share it. And that's where the action portion comes in, and kind of where the marketing comes in as well, especially attraction marketing. It's, if you're wondering, or like listeners are wondering, what content do I create? Well, if you're learning something new each day in your field, then you're going to have a lot of content you can then share with other people.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it doesn't need to be like it. I hope it doesn't seem like a lot of steps, because honestly, this can be done in like 2 hours each day, right?
Yeah,
like visualize. Yeah. It's like visualization for 10 minutes, personal growth for 15. You're learning something new, like you can have, an audiobook on while you're driving, while you're waiting for an appointment. You're listening to a summit or a webinar, or while you're doing chores around the house, you can have like a webinar, a summit on, or talk in the background. So it doesn't, need to be like a huge time commitment. It's very doable for everyone. So, and then, yeah. And then taking that time to share that content, share what you've learned with other people. So that could be through videos, through, doing summits, just simply like creating posts on Instagram or on Facebook, where you're kind of positioning yourself as that teacher, that leadership role, and just passing on the knowledge, right? Like we all have to learn it somewhere. It's not like we have to invent something completely new. It's just about learning and growing and, absorbing that information and then presenting it in a way that makes sense for us. Because I think, you've probably had the experience as well, where you can hear like the same thing over and over again, but then just the way someone explains it, it really clicks with you.
Exactly. And, I like what you say with all that. And I think a good way for our listeners to think of it too is just be a lifetime student. Like it's all about continually learning. And like you said, every day learning something new. I like that, the way that you mentioned it. But yeah, people just think about it as, you're a lifetime student. We're all lifetime students here to learn. So it doesn't need to be a big chore every day.
No, right? Absolutely not. And yeah, I love the way you word that as well. It's just simply opening yourself up to saying, yeah, lifetime student. And if you're in that mindset, it's always going to be something, that you can learn and be open to learning, for sure. And then of course, like taking that step and sharing it. And I think that's where some people's fears may come up as well, because to do that, you have to be visible, you have to be out there, and you can open yourself up to that judgment and criticism. So, if that's coming up for people, that's normal. And that's where you can work on some of the EFT to clear those limiting beliefs and just notice that inner critic and know that you don't have to respond to it, right? And that those fears are normal. And really, there's so much support out there. So
exactly. And I want to bring one thing up, because I know, like I said, we're connected on social media. And one thing I love about you is that not only from the business side that you connect, you also connect really well personally with people, like your pictures and things like that. So I think too, because people, one thing, our listeners may or may not know is, in the online space for sure, any business really, but definitely in the online space, it's not just about, people aren't just buying your product and your service, they're actually buying you. So, we may have the exact same product and service, but people might resonate more with you, or some might resonate more with me. They're actually buying us as a personality. So I think it's good for, like, in the sharing piece, I think I wanted to bring that up because I think you do an awesome job with that. You can really see the connection that you have personally with people. So that's important. And I'm sure it's also something that you had to come out of your comfort zone at some point. We all do. But I wanted to bring that up because I know you do such a great job with that.
Thank you, Christine. And I think that's a really good point you bring up. And I'm noticing that more and more, and I'm sure a lot of coaches do out there. Like a lot of what I hear when I have new clients coming in, or, I'm chatting with them about my services to see if it's a good fit, is they'll say, I resonate with you and your energy and your approach. So it's really, that is interesting. And again, there'll be people that won't at all, and they go to someone else. And that's where I think it is so important that we do just show up as who we are, and trust there's a lot of people out there, and they're going to resonate with different personalities and different approaches. So the more that we are ourselves, the more that we're going to be happy with the clients coming in as well, because they're drawn to us for a reason. So we're likely to connect with them too. So thank you for bringing up that great point. I think, that is a big part of like social media, connecting with people, forming relationships on social media, is showing your lifestyle and the behind the scenes as well. That needs to be a part of it, because again, people are working with you. They want to know who you are, what you're about, not just what you know. So that's such a good point.
Yes, and a lot of times, whatever our story is, it's how they are drawn in to us. And like you said, the lifestyle, and that's how they're automatically connected. And like you said about the attraction marketing. So I totally agree with you on being authentic and being yourself. So in terms, are you I didn't know if you had any more to add in terms of...
One more point, I'll say.
Okay, no, I'll let you finish, because I wanted to ask some questions after.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. So the last one is networking, or taking time to form new relationships. Mm-hmm. And some people may like that more than networking, that term, right? I know I'm not a huge fan of like networking events and stuff. So if I see it as forming relationships, it gives a different spin to it. So taking time each day to form those new relationships, form those connections, because that's going to be like the action step as well. Really, the sharing what you learn, the taking time to form relationships, those are the action steps. The other steps behind the scenes, the personal growth, the learning, the visualization, they're all important, and you need to combine both together. Like, you need to do the work on yourself, you need to do the learning, but to really, I guess, like the marketing kind of comes into play when you take the action, and then you're applying what you're learning and you're sharing it. And I think if people see it like that, it makes it a lot easier as well to kind of look at marketing. So those are the rituals.
Well, I love those rituals, and I agree with you too on the connection. The more and more I step into the space as well, it really is about the connection, actually literally sometimes getting on the phone with people too, and or just messaging people, and people are quite happy to receive that, So I think that's a great point that you bring up. And I love your points, because like you said, sometimes we get stuck with the same points but I love the way all your points, and then also the action steps at the end. I think that's definitely very key for your success. So I totally love that you shared that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I spent like a lot of time doing it, even for like the first couple of years in my business. It was more of a hobby because I didn't know what I was doing, right? So I spent a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, which was my comfort zone, I realize now. And also, I think just a place in my journey where I was working on myself. I was absorbing the information. But it wasn't until I actually stepped out and shared it that I started getting the clients, and my business started to grow. So action steps are crucial for sure. But I mean, they all have a place in your journey. So I think it's being where you are, but also knowing when it's time to step out of that comfort zone, when you've done enough learning. And now it's time that you get out there and you start to share. Yeah.
Oh, I love all your tips for sure. And, I totally agree with you that, we have to be happy where we are today. Mm-hmm. And, but definitely it makes a difference once we start taking and getting started too, and not worrying about that perfectionism, but getting starting and stepping out, and like you said, taking the actions and sharing and connecting with people. I love that. And did you find too, like when your business took off, was it really the connection that you were making with people that really helped to propel that forward?
Yeah, it was that and really being more visible. Like, again, just putting videos out there. Videos were a really big one for me because I think, we see videos are becoming way more popular on social
Yeah.
media now. Like, a lot of people are doing videos, which is a really good idea. But I think initially there weren't many people doing them, and still some people shy away from it. And it's hard to get a feel for what someone's all about. Like, you kind of know, but
Yes.
then when you see them on video, it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. We know if we connect with that person and if they're the right fit for us. So
Yeah.
doing videos were big for me, which was really just getting out there and being visible. So
And
yeah, that was huge. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure it was hard at first to be uncomfortable, being uncomfortable.
It was. And, even looking back at some of my first videos now and still kind of being like critical, like what was I doing? But it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm
No.
sure a year from now, I'll look back and say, what was I doing? Because we're always learning and growing, right? But that's the whole thing, though. It doesn't have to be perfect to start getting results. It's really taking the action.
People want to know who you are as a person. They're not
Mm-hmm.
really wanting to see. I think people can see through if we're trying to be perfect or trying to make it just so. Yeah, I think people, like we talked about, is just they buy you, right? They're buying you and your personality, and whether it's quirky or not, or whatever it is, that's who they're buying is you. So
True. And that's so important to remember. I think when people are putting content out there or doing videos, it really is just being yourself and relaxing into it. And I think the more we get out there and do videos, the more that naturally comes out anyway. Like, people start to see our personality. At first, I feel it's like for all of us, right? We're new, so we're more nervous and we're trying to follow like a rigid schedule of what we're saying. And then over time, it's that personality that comes out. And I think that's when people really start to see the traction and people drawn to what they're doing, and the right people for you, which is good.
Exactly. So do you have any recommendations like for the rituals or what you've experienced with some of your clients? How long do you feel that sometimes it takes people to get into these types of rituals, especially if they're starting from scratch and maybe don't have a lot of this set in place yet? And whether you have any resources that you can that you recommend for people to help them in maybe some of the different areas.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, those are really good questions. I would say, getting into it, give yourself like a couple months at least. Like, it takes a little while to get those habits in place. So you do have to keep showing up consistently. And, each of those steps, they're really easy to follow and perfecting them. I don't even want to say perfecting them, but really getting them to a point where they're working well for you can be a little bit more tricky. So don't, give up right away or throw it out if you don't see the results. I think sometimes that's what happens with people, or I know I've seen it happen in my life. We try to integrate a new habit or a new ritual. We don't see the results right away, so we give up.
Yeah.
Instead of just sticking with it and trusting it takes a little bit of time to see the results, because it's kind of an art to knowing how to really form those connections and really share information in a way that connects with your target market. Or if you're just starting out, really knowing who your target market is.
Yes.
That's a tricky piece.
Yeah, and I think too the tricky part is our messaging. Getting clear on that messaging and like you said, the target market, because sometimes we don't want to niche down and we want to stay more general, but I think it's when we niche down that the magic actually happens.
Yeah, well, it makes the marketing so much easier, right? That's really a big part of marketing, is knowing your niche and who you're speaking to. Because if you don't, then it's going to be hard to create programs. It's going to be hard to create resources and content. So we really have to know who we're speaking to. So when you have that clarity with your target market, then creating programs and doing the marketing is a lot easier as well.
Exactly. So do you recommend people maybe start one ritual and try and do that for a few weeks and kind of introduce it? Do you feel that that's been effective before?
Yeah, do one at a time, but make sure you're taking the action each day. The action piece is important. So get out there and make a new connection each day, whether it's in your area, you're meeting someone for coffee, or you're making a new connection on Facebook. You want to be taking that action each day, or putting content out there, and then at least taking some of the time behind the scenes stuff. So listening to like a webinar or a podcast that you really enjoy, or an audio. So at least do one from each of those categories. Like the behind the scenes are more the action stuff. And and eventually it will become a habit if you stick with it. And like all those steps can be done again in like 2 hours a day. So it's not like it has to take up your whole day doing each of these. If you have more time and you're in your business full time, that's where you can spend more time on each. But if you feel you're crunched for time, you can also just shorten each of the rituals, and it's still going to make a difference.
That's awesome. Well, I do love all your rituals. So, and I do some of them myself, and but I think they're all really wonderful, very practical and very doable. So, do you have a favorite resource, like a favorite book that might help people, or books that might help people to steer in that direction?
As far as doing like the visualization one, because I know that can be tricky, I have a few favorite YouTube videos. So if anyone's listening, because I can't remember the name, I'm horrible with names. Like, but if people want to message, if they need help getting into that, there's a few visualizations where you're guided through the process of manifesting what you want, or really getting clarity around what you want. And that can help rather than just sitting there and trying to get into it on your own. There are really good audios that I can share and that I can pass along for anybody that's really interested in that. As far as like the summits and the podcasts, there's so many out there. I mean, there's a lot of really good ones. So I'm always listening to new webinars. I recently came across a podcast. I think it's Lewis Howe. I hope I'm
Lewis. I like Lewis.
So he's pretty awesome. He has a lot of like my mentors and teachers that I follow that are on there. So that's been one of my favorites lately for just personal growth. And there's a lot of good information that's shared on there too. So it kind of goes with learning something new as well. So I think, it's just choosing what resonates with you. But if anybody wants some specific like help with the visualizations, they're welcome to reach out. And I also have a call that's happening this Sunday that's really designed to help people get their goals aligned for the new year, clear out any blocks, welcome more abundance into 2017, and really apply these steps. So if anyone's interested in that and kind of taking it a step further, they're welcome to reach out, and I'd be happy to give the details around that call as well.
Okay, that's great. Well, your website, where can people reach you or find you?
Sure. So coachingwithkara.com, and coaching and Kara is with a K. So KOACHING with Kara, KARA. And I have lots of good resources on there. I have links to many of the podcasts that I've been on, so people can kind of absorb that information. I also have a free video series they can download, 3 Key Habits for Entrepreneurial Success. So there's a lot of good resources on there. And then, of course, my individual coaching services would be listed on there as well if people want to explore more in depth some of the programs that I offer.
Okay, and I will put that in the description of the video. So if anybody's watching, you want to get in contact with Kara, then feel free to look her up on her website. So did you have anything else that you wanted to add to today's webinar and or share with our audience?
Well, again, just making sure people stick with it. Don't get frustrated if, you're not seeing the changes take place right away. I think, anytime we're implementing a new habit, we do have to stick with it. So just trust if you show up consistently, that makes a world of difference. Whether you're showing up for yourself or you show up for your audience, make that commitment to be there, show up consistently, and you will see the traction eventually. So, you have, I think in business, you have to have that persistence. You can't be given up easily. You need persistence.
Well, thank you, Kara, so much for taking the time. and offering this bonus to our audience. And I totally agree with everything Kara says about the consistency and taking action. Those daily rituals are the stepping stones that we take every single day to create that success for ourselves. So definitely reach out to Kara. What is it again?
Coachingwithkara.com, and with a K. So coaching with a K, Kara with a K.
Okay, perfect. And like I said, I'll put the link in the description below. And also, if you're still interested in connecting with us, and Kara is one of my experts on Riches in the Soul Summit. It's still going on and will still be available after the summit. So I will put the link in, it's richesandthesoulsummit.com. So feel free to join us in the summit and experience all that the experts have to offer and create your empire rich in soul, love, and freedom. And for those of you who want to connect with me, then you can connect with me on my website at ChristineFurtadoEnterprises.com. And again, I'll post that link in the description. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.